Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Trader Summit, and I have Mr. Dick Matthews from Pardus FX, the cable whisperer. I want to say at this point in time. How you doing, Dick? Good to see you.
I'm good. I'm good. I guess I've got lucky. I've been calling it low for some time, and I guess that we got there in the end.
We did. Okay, so craziest thing. I mean, I think I have to go back to last week, but you said, hey, we're going below 110. Your target was 10. What was
640,
it? 106.40, something like that. I have to go back and you came within like a few pips of that, which is the craziest thing I've heard in a long time. But I mean, you know, hats off and hat tip to you if we were playing golf. I mean, wild stuff. I'm going to ask you where you think it's going to go from here, and if we've seen an all-time low, or if it's going to we're going to see lower. You can get to that here in a second. But you did mention to me before as we just got together, that you went out to lunch with some interesting fellows. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we I had spent lunchtime, a really enjoyable lunch today with some old guys I used to be on the futures floor with. We were the originals way back in the early 80s, and we'd all worked together, and and it's just so much fun to see these guys. And there's some great traders, mostly locals, but some really, really nice traders, some of whom I haven't seen for ages, and some of whom are great buddies. And it's just like the sense of humor. But we were talking about, as you do after 2 minutes, how's the wife, how's the family? Now, what about the markets?
Yeah, right.
Go to the serious stuff in business and life. And we're talking about cable. And I actually found out today that the previous low to this week's low was on my 30th birthday, 26th of February, 1985, when it got down to 103 something. And it does, to me, it almost seems like yesterday. Interestingly, it bounced straight back, put on 42% in a year after that. Ended up at 149 within a year.
Wow.
Which is really interesting.
And now, you're expecting that to happen today?
No.
Okay. All right. But what are the thoughts of the traders you were with that were trading with you, watching the sterling go to all-time lows? I mean, what was the temperature there?
Those days the market was very, very different to now.
No, I'm talking about what was the temperature of them at your luncheon?
Towards today's markets, I think we're talking about what they used to be like, and the people who are in charge, and the politicians, and the guys who are running the Fed, and Volcker, and whatever.
Yeah.
We weren't terribly complimentary about what we've got now, and be careful what I say. And I think the idea is that Jay Powell's doing a pretty good job. He's being absolutely black and white what the Fed's going to do, and we're going to be higher for longer, and you better believe it. I still don't think the stock markets believe it. And that in comparison to Thatcher and the leaders that we had in the UK, now that you've got second-rate politicians, certainly in those days, the Bank of England understood the markets and understood how markets work. And we all talked to the Bank of England. We've touched on this before about self-regulation, that we wouldn't be in daily touch with the Bank of England, but the whole market was within a square mile. We'd know the traders at the Bank of England. Our bosses would talk to the Bank of England, so they could get a feel for a market, right? Which is really, really important. Now that's all gone. I don't think the governor of the Bank of England has got a Scooby-Doo about what's going on. He's been terribly, terribly weak. They're going, oh, well, we'll do this. We'll move up by 50 basis points. And even one member only wants to move rates by 25 basis points, which is unbelievable. And they think, oh, why is cable slip? Well, it's because actually, on the one hand, the Bank of England has been totally ineffectual. Thought inflation has been transitory for far too long. And on the other hand, you've got a government that's giving money away. Being inflation. And I wrote earlier this week, it's like, have you ever driven a car when you put your foot down, pedal to the metal, full blast, with the handbrake on at the same time? Never. And and that just would blow the car up. And that's what I think the economy's doing here. So, yeah, I see it lower.
You do? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you know, this is obviously a picture of the cable, and you can see a chart, and you know, we've broken down. Looks like we're at least consolidating right now, maybe before the next leg. You know, the previous all-time lows on your 30th birthday was right around here, around the 105. I want to say it's 105.20, somewhere around this
It's
neighborhood.
103 something, was it?
The from 1985.
Yeah, it's
No,
103 and a half,
the 1985 lows, I don't have them on this chart, was at 105.20, I believe, but maybe it's just the data feed that I have. Because
yeah, that might be IMM as opposed, that might be the forward as opposed to the Bank of England's price.
Right.
So it was 103 and a half, 104, something like that. I'm sure someone listening will pick us up on it. So I still think we're going to slip back down. Excuse me. Towards parity. You've obviously got a bit of support around about this week's low 103.60. Is it?
Yep.
Picking numbers off my head.
Yep, it's right around there.
Yeah, and then what's beneath there?
Well, it's going to be below. It's going to be parity, right? And that's what everybody's going to. That's what the market's going to be targeting. But I want to ask you this, Dick. I mean, is there anything that could save the sterling at this point? I mean, it seems like, you know, it doesn't matter what the bank does at this point. It is going to have an opposite effect, or it's going to have a negative effect on the sterling, whether they're raising rates, or they start cutting, obviously. So what are your thoughts? Like, what could turn the tide? What would you look at and say, you know what, this might actually do the trick?
Fed pivot.
That's it. So it's
and they ain't going to pivot.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
they're no more going to pivot than I can do a handstand. And I'm more likely to be able to do a handstand than the Fed pivots. They ain't going to do it. And to me, the only thing that can save sterling is dollar weakness.
Okay, so it has to be.
When's that going to come?
Yeah, it's ultimately got to be dollar weakness, and you know, a divergence of central bank expectations, if you will. And with the economic data that we just saw out of the U.S. today, with new home sales, with consumer confidence, it still suggests that economic data is strong enough where the Fed is not even close to pivoting. I'm going to assume that that's it. So what levels would you be looking at to sell sterling at this point?
Where are we trading now?
We're trading around just below 108. So you look for rallies back to 110, 112.
I've got 108.60.
Oh, okay. All right. So I mean
109.66. And if it breaks up anywhere above, above that, I'd just be a seller, be a scaled up seller. Okay. I think your absolute limit is going to be something like 112 and a half, 113. And I think people will just queue up to sell. So Bank of England comes in panic, so, and they raise rates in a panic. The market's going to say they're panicking. We can really push this more. And it's almighty dollar. One thing I think is interesting today is this Nord Stream gas leak. Whether that's a deliberate target on an underground pipeline, whether that's by Joe Biden stopping Nord Stream 2 or by the Russians shooting themselves in the foot, who knows? But that's going to put, to me, more pressure on the euro. Again, more buyers of dollars are going to come out. And you could well see a little bit of a flight to safety, to safe havens, again benefiting the dollar. We've been talking now for like 3 months. There's only been one game in town.
Yeah, and it continues to be the dollar. So let me ask you, as far as the euro goes, what levels are you looking for downside in the euro?
I think that's interesting. You don't ask me for the upside.
Not even asking. Well, I think most of us that are watching the euro are probably like, hey, as long as it stays below parity, we're going lower. It's pretty good rule of thumb, right? But what's some downside targets for you?
93 and a half.
Okay. All right.
You're going to see some support on the way down. You've got a right-wing government coming in Italy, Meloni. It's going to put stress on sovereign spreads. I wouldn't buy BCPs. I'd buy bunds over BCP. So you're going to have the internal stresses there. She's pretty outspoken on what she feels. And you've still got this dreadful war going on our borders. And you keep reading, Putin's going to get overthrown. This is happening, that's happening. they're going to get tougher. And if he is overthrown, are you telling me you're going to get someone who's softer or harder? You know, so you're gambling. Putin gets overthrown, and you get a nice cuddly Russian government in. Don't think so.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid I'm like a cracked record by the dollar.
All right. Well, you heard it first, and you've been hearing it here from the Sterling Whisperer, Dick Matthews. And Dick, you're with Pardus FX. So what do you guys do over there at Pardus FX?
Okay, we advise some corporates, some institutional funds on their FX exposures, help them do their hedging. We also talk to various high net worth individuals and just guide them through the vagaries of the FX markets, which can be quite baffling and quite scary to people. Just generally help them understand what's going on in the black arts of the FX world.
All right. Well, I tell you are a psychic or a whisperer or a palm reader. I'm not really sure what you are there, Dick, but we like it and we appreciate you over here at Trader Summit. So make sure you give Dick a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of his exclusive whispering content. So Dick, we'll catch you next week, and thank you for being with us.
One thing I don't do is whisper. I'm always told off because I talk too loudly. So I wish you a nice week.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Cheers now. Bye.
Hey traders, Blake Morrow here. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also click the bell notifications so you do not miss any of our market-related trading analysis from some of the leading industry experts. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you in the next video.